So today I'm going to tell you about a case in which a candidate told us that they had COVID and that they were positive, and that set in motion a whole series of events that were very challenging for our client. It ended up being false. So I'll tell you first the story of what happened, and then I'll give you a few answers as an employer and what position you might be in to tackle this if this should happen to you. So our candidate let us know on Monday, late afternoon, that they were COVID positive. Now the candidate was coughing wildly and strongly and it didn't sound well, and gave us a lot of information in our investigation, where they had been, the dates, the 14 days prior, who they had had contact with, and quite a series of even very precise information about when they had tested and when they had received a call from public health on the Saturday. So immediately we provided this information to our client in full detail, and our client, a large organization with a very responsive safety team, was able to get back to us immediately and put in motion on their end a set of actions that they had predetermined to ensure that they contacted everyone who had had contact with this individual on the floor they were on, where she had eaten lunch, where she had used the washroom, and everything like that. So the next day, the client asked us to provide additional information and to let them know who else, and even more names, first and last names of people the candidate had contact with. So I tried to reach her several times. Finally, at the end of the day, the candidate called to let us know that it was false. She said that she had misunderstood the information. She said she was sure she was COVID positive, and she gave a range of information that, frankly, I don't know what to do with. So we let the client know, and then obviously the client was upset in different ways. They were happy that their own employees may not have had contact with the virus. At the same time, the motions that they had set in place and the time and energy it took had really been quite extensive. So the client, after being very upset with me, said that they wanted to speak with the candidate directly, and the candidate gave permission for that. So they resolved it on their end to know for sure that this was the case. Now, the client asked why it is that we didn't have, as an employer, information in writing from the candidate to let us know that it had been a positive result. So I spent the week looking into this, and what I understood after learning this for you as an employer to look at is, number one, that the person, after they test positive for a case of COVID, the information goes to the healthcare provider, or the healthcare provider that asked for the requisition. The healthcare provider will then contact the individual to let them know that they're positive. Otherwise, public health is also calling directly to the patient who tests positive to let them know. We've understood as of March 28th today that results are taking 4 to 5 days to be provided to the person who tests positive. So there was no way for us as an employer necessarily to get the result. So I spoke with our lawyer and asked, is there any way that we could obtain a copy of it? And our lawyer from Gallings said that there was no way, that in fact medical care providers get the information, but that employers have no right to it because it's private, that we have to rely on the honesty of the individual to tell us accurately if this did occur or not. So our lawyer did recommend that we ask the individual to provide a questionnaire before returning to work, because this could add a level of accountability on the part of the employee to note, when they had tested, how long they had been in quarantine, why they were in quarantine, etc. So this may be something that we would do in the future, and that if you would like to receive a copy of the COVID-19 questionnaire, we'd be glad to provide it. Now, the purpose of that, again, is strictly to add accountability. Finally, you might be wondering what our recourse is for the employee who did this. Now, usually I don't get upset with individuals, or certainly our candidates on assignment, because we have a symbiotic relationship with them and we care about our candidates, and we certainly wouldn't want to be upset with them. But in this case, I was very upset with the individual, and I let them know that their actions had been irresponsible, that it had set in motion a whole range of actions on the part of our client, and that I was, obviously very upset with them. The candidate was embarrassed and did say they were sorry. However, the actions had been taken. So, lying to your employer is a serious offense, and it would be something where we would put a letter in this individual's file and, would certainly have lost a certain level of trust with the individual. On our client's part, they will have let the contract expire and will not renew the contract with this individual. So in that way, this person has lost her future employment with our client, which was a really excellent position. Ultimately, you know, she's lost her employment, but we've also lost somewhat of our reputation as well with our client, and so we hope that we can rebuild that. You might be wondering, as a final, you know, why our candidate did this, and I would say that I think she had tested, was nervous, was sick, and just made the assumption that she was COVID positive, although she wasn't, and this has resolved itself since then. So I hope this was helpful to you, and if you do want a copy of the questionnaire for the employee, please reach out to the email that's listed on the screen, and we'll provide it to you. Thank you.